Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. As some of you might know or remember, I'm Tony from Mercy Health Family Medicine, residency programs in Perrysburg, Ohio. And as we do the third Wednesday of each month, give a talk on a different medical topic. And today we're going to talk about staying active with aging. Before I started, we were chatting a little bit, and I've taken out the word exercise and aging, and I put in the word staying active with aging, because exercise tends to have a negative connotation for some people, and it immediately tunes them out. But when we start to talk about some of the things we can do about staying active, we can start to check a list and say, yeah, I do that. So we're going to talk about just some of the things we can do, why it's important. If we haven't been too active, what can we do to get started? I'm not trying to compete with the people across the hall who are having an exercise class at the same time. But what I'm trying to do is get people to understand that if it's something that hasn't been on your radar for a while, to rethink it, particularly as we're going into the cooler months. We tend to probably not get out of our house or where we live as often. So we'll talk about some things we can do at home as well. But it's definitely important to stay active, first of all, for good heart health. What is good heart health? That means lowering our cholesterol, lowering our blood pressure. When we have good heart health, we reduce our risk of heart attacks, we reduce our risk of strokes. Along those same lines, when we're focused on good heart health, it helps to reduce the chance of developing diabetes, it helps to reduce our weight. It helps to increase our strength. It helps to build up our bone strength, not just our muscle strength. But the other big thing that's very important to me, and should be important to all of us as we get older, is helping to reduce falls. Because falls are something that we never know when they're going to happen. We don't know how they're going to happen. But we do know that if we have a fall, there's a chance, a risk of that fall resulting in some type of traumatic or serious injury that could lead to either hospitalization or something more severe. Along all the lines that I just talked about, it helps us to maintain independence, which is everyone's focus later in life, is trying to remain as healthy and as independent as possible so we can continue to live in our own residence and be able to continue to enjoy doing the things we want to do. And then finally, let's be honest, when we are staying active and we're healthy, it improves our mood, it improves our mental health, and we're a lot more pleasant people to be around. Because when you are not feeling well, when you've not been taking care of yourself, your mental health and your mood kind of follows in that negative direction, and we're just not nice people to be around. So if let's say, for example, we haven't been active for a while, but saying, you know what, Tony's right, it's getting ready to be in the cooler months, what can I do to get started? The first thing you want to do is make a commitment to yourself that your health is a priority. It's not just about staying active, it's about eating a little bit better, it's about being a little bit more compliant with what our primary care physician is asking of us. You know, are we getting our colonoscopies? Are we getting our flu shots? Are we getting our pneumonia vaccinations? Things like that. But definitely have that conversation with your primary care physician before you get started, because your primary care physician, if you've been following them for a while, is going to be able to say to you, hey, I know your health history pretty well. Here's what I encourage you to do, but here's might be some of the limitations based on the fact that you might have had some knee replacements, or you've had a stroke in the past, or you have Parkinson's, or you've had a heart attack. So I encourage you to do these things, but here's should be the parameters or the boundaries of how we go about things. The other thing is, if we're going to do this, dress the part. Somebody asked me at one of the talks earlier in the month, what does that mean, dress the part? If you're going to go do aerobics or something, we're not showing up in a dress and high heels. We're not showing up in, jewelry and all these other things, but making sure that we have comfortable, loose fitting clothing, the right type of shoes, things like that. The other thing is setting attainable goals and starting slowly. Um, One of my coworkers is um, running or doing this thing called, and Danielle, you might know, it's called couch to 5K or something like that. And 5K is a little over 3 miles of running. And how do you go from being a couch potato to getting there? Starting with a slow, obtainable goals. So it's not just about, I'm not talking about running with an older population. I'm talking about just maybe joining one of the classes, and maybe you've done a class across the hall or something in the past and you said, you know what, it's not for me. Maybe trying one of the other classes that we talked or that they offer. I'm going to talk about a couple here. Um, the other thing is trying to do it with a buddy system. If if you have somebody that you're friends with or an acquaintance and say, hey, I'm thinking about, starting to do a couple of classes across the hall, but I've tried it before, then maybe getting somebody to go with you and doing the buddy system kind of holds you two more accountable to one another. Because you're going to have your bad days and you're going to say, you know what, it's only an hour, quit feeling sorry for yourself. Let's get over there and let's do this. Um, the other thing you want to make sure is, and I might repeat this a little bit later in the talk, but doing a warm up and doing a cool down, maybe about 5 or 10 minutes, and drinking plenty of fluids. Because just as if you go to a chiropractor or if you see a physician who's a DO and they do this osteopathic manipulation, they're working on your muscles. Exercise is the same way. You're working on your muscles, so you want to make sure that you're drinking plenty of fluids, primarily water, to help replenish your body. There's a few different types of activities or exercises. First one is, it says there is aerobic and cardiovascular. This is where we're trying to increase our heart rate. So all of us, if we're looking to pursue that type of physical activity, knowing what our resting heart rate is, and then knowing what our target range should be for that aerobic or cardiovascular. The next thing is resistance or strength training. I'm not talking about going to the gym and lifting a lot of weight. It's something as simple as, I'm sure a lot of you have seen resistant bands. Different color bands are different types of resistance. So familiarizing yourself with some of those, maybe starting with one of the colors that has the least amount of resistance and working your way up. That's where you're setting goals. Okay, in 2 weeks, I want to work myself up to the next color and doing things like that. Small, attainable goals. For people who are, you know what, I'm going to hold off on that part because I'm going to I'll talk about that later. But stretching and balance and flexibility. This is, if staying active should include, the cardiovascular should include the resistance training, but focusing on stretching, balance, and flexibility, in my personal and professional opinion, as we get older, is one of the big ones. What does that entail? Something like Tai Chi, yoga, things like that help us. There's a lot of research out there that shows older individuals that participate in something like that, you're not getting your heart rate in that up very much, but you are working on trying to control balance, because again, the better your balance, the better your flexibility, reducing the risk amount of falls. And we just talked a little bit about that. Again, staying active does not necessarily mean having to go to the gym. It takes on many forms. For some people, they appreciate water aerobics. I don't know what's available in Bowling Green. I know that in Wood County, they have the YMCA. In Perrysburg, the Kingston Rehab Facility has a pool. And if you get a script from your physician, a lot of times you're able to participate in some water aerobic classes or something like that. It has less of an impact on your body. And a lot of people say, wow, I wish I would have known about this a little bit sooner because it's something that I enjoy. I don't want to get my hair wet, but I want to be able to, get a little bit of exercise in there. I mentioned the yoga and balance activities. Um, staying active as part of a hobby. Maybe if you're still at home and you have a garden, doing some gardening or some light yard work. Um, if you're sitting at home watching television, maybe in between meetings, picking up those water bottles and just kind of lifting them, not really fast, but nice and slow. Or people will eventually work their way up to um, half-gallon milk bottles, the old gallon jugs. That's an awful lot. But certainly the half gallon, and maybe you fill it up initially halfway. And one of your goals is in a couple of 3 weeks to fill it up all the way. And again, doing those things during commercials. The other thing is things like soup cans and stuff like that. But I prefer like the milk jugs because they do have a handle and you have a better grip and you kind of reduce the risk of any type of drop. Again, anything that keeps you moving, even if it's as simple as you're still driving to the facility here, parking a little bit further away and walking into the building. Granted, it's got to be a nicer day or something, but not, oh, there's a spot right up front. I'm going to grab that. So kind of making yourself accountable for being a little bit more active that way. All those things add up. They say at the age of 60 and over, you should be putting in 150 minutes a week of some type of activity. And you're like, wow, that sounds like a lot. But if you took 3 45-minute walks a week, right there, you've already pretty much, it all adds up. Or you're like, I can't walk 45 minutes. Okay, let's do 25 or 30 minutes, 4 times a week, and then find something else to fill in those voids. Again, you don't have to start out doing 150 minutes a week. It's about setting small, attainable goals to work your way up to that. Concerns to look out for when you're trying to become a little bit more active. Again, consult with your doctor. If you have any shortness of breath or chest pain, those are immediate concerns and signs of a potential something more serious. If you have a health history pertaining to anything pulmonary or breathing wise, asthma, emphysema, any heart history, you want to make sure that you are participating in activities that are safe for you. The low impact exercises, which I talked about, staying hydrated, which I talked about, and like I said, working your way up to a certain level. Small steps to better health. You can become more active even without a specific routine exercise. So again, if you need to go talk to somebody on the second floor, or there's somebody or an activity on the second floor here, instead of trying to take the elevator, trying to take the stairs up and down would be a good thing. I talked about parking further away. Even house chores, we don't like to do them, but vacuuming and mopping, all those things require your body to move in certain range of motion and certain directions. Those things help. Again, we're still encountering, I think next week is the beginning of fall, if I heard. So, what's that?
22nd.
There you go. We're still encountering really good weather. So, you know, trying to take advantage of those things. I talked about some of the things you can do about, you know, during commercials if you're home watching television. But healthy aging requires a person to stay active. You can say, well, I've been to the doctor, I'm getting my flu shots, I got my COVID shot, I'm taking my pills as directed, I'm eating okay. Those are all things that are great, probably ahead of a lot of other people, but just trying to incorporate a little bit of activity, any of the activities that we mentioned in your lifestyle. Um, Having a buddy system, I think to me is one of the most important things because it's nice to do something with someone else. It's nice to be held accountable. And again, if you're saying, well, I'm not sure I'm feeling it today, that person should be able to push you and say, again, it's only an hour. Let's get through this. The other thing is keeping it fun. You don't necessarily want to go to a gym. You don't necessarily. I've seen the activity calendar here, and when I bring the physician residents, I always show them the calendar, not just for what this facility offers, but the other facilities, because they're truly a gem. They're what you make of it, and there's something for everybody. So I would encourage you to take a look at those, and if you haven't been involved, get involved. If you did it before, get re-involved. And anything is better than that. Any questions? All right. Well, thank you for your time. I hope you have a good, happy, healthy month. Like I said, take advantage of it. Take care. Last night or
I have a comment. Sorry, I have a comment.